Hello, and welcome to a Skyrim character build. I will be going over a build of mine called the Runeslinger. Before I begin going over some things, this character takes advantage of some content from the Dragonborn DLC. If you haven't already, I recommend that you buy it at your earliest convenience. For the build specs, the race I strongly recommend is the High Elf. They have a 50-point bonus in Magicka and share skill bonuses in 4 of the 6 skills that the Runeslinger uses. The major skills that we'll focus on are Destruction, Alchemy, and Illusion. The rune spells from the School of Destruction are the Runeslinger's way of dealing damage. Alchemy serves a vital role for this build. Being a pure mage, he can create potions to increase the damage of his runes and restore lost Magicka from casting rune spells. Illusion is a great way of crowd controlling for those that need time to regenerate Magicka. Simply cast a Frenzy spell on a large group of enemies, or use Fear on a singular enemy. The minor skills that the Runeslinger uses are Alteration, Speech, and Restoration. The purpose of Alteration is to use the Ash Rune to isolate stronger enemies from the weaker ones. Speech is valuable for getting the best prices on alchemy ingredients from apothecary vendors. Should he run out of ingredients to use, he can buy potions until he can brew a concoction of his choosing. He practices in the School of Restoration to be able to cast the Poison Rune spell. It causes enemies to suffer 3 points of damage for 30 seconds. For the Standing Stone, I suggest that you go with the Atronach Stone. The benefits of choosing this stone are having a 50-point Magicka boost and a 50% chance to absorb spells. The only downside is that you regenerate half the amount of Magicka that you normally would in the beginning stages of this build. When you're leveling up, I recommend investing in 2 points of health and 5 points of Magicka until you reach 200 health. Then you can spend as much as you want on Magicka, unless you need more health to survive. For shouts, I used Slow Time, Whirlwind Sprint, and Unrelenting Force. Slow Time slows down both your movement and your enemy's movement. However, you'll be able to dodge any attacks and cast runes at a fairly fast rate. You can use Whirlwind Sprint to create distance if you need time to cast another rune. Unrelenting Force can send smaller enemies flying with all 3 words of power, giving you room to cast another rune. A neat tactic you can use is to set off one of your runes with 1 word of Unrelenting Force when an enemy is nearing the rune. Some other shouts I haven't listed that I would recommend are the Cyclone Shout and the Bend Will Shout. The former creates a tornado that sends enemies flying upwards and deals a lot of damage. The latter can control most enemies with only 2 words of power, giving you some time to recover Magicka. For in-game gear, I split this into 2 outfits that work great. For a defensive character, the outfit in the left side of the image provides the following effects: 25% spell absorption, 170 points extra Magicka, a chance to spawn a tentacle explosion that deals damage and staggers, and 20% spell cost reduction in Destruction and Restoration. With a 20% cost reduction for Destruction and Restoration spells, this makes it easier to cast the runes that we'll be dealing damage with. Having a 25% chance to absorb any spell or dragon shout is great. When combined with the Atronach Stone and perk, you gain 105% spell absorption, which you really don't need that extra 5%. Although, you have to complete the Dragonborn questline in order to get Mirak's clothes and his staff, which I also recommend getting. When using it, it creates a wall of tentacles that staggers any target that tries to run past them, and is dealt a fair amount of damage. This creates some space to cast a rune on the other side of that wall. For an offensive character, the outfit in the right side of the image provides the following effects: 285% Magicka regeneration, 50 extra Magicka points, 15% spell cost reduction in all schools of magic, and 40% shock resistance. Unlike Nocturn's Mask, the Archmage's robes give spell cost reduction for every magic skill that's in the Runeslinger's arsenal. When in combat, Magicka regenerates roughly 1% of the total Magicka per second, excluding enchantments. For a level 37 character that's wearing this outfit, he would generate around 14 points of Magicka per second. The shock resistance comes from the boots inside the Archmage's quarters. Though any boots can work, it's nice to have a little bit of resistance against the element that can deplete your Magicka. I should note that for most of the entire outfit, you will need to complete the College of Winterhold questline to obtain them. Here is the perk spread for a level 44 character. For a more in-depth explanation on why I chose these perks, I'll release a written explanation in the description below. And here is a list of alchemy recipes that I've used. You can look for more by using a Google search or Bing search, whatever. Now here is the Runeslinger in combat. I hope that you enjoy this video.